We left yesterday in the amazing position that you are now, as you are to be always, when you are in the will of God. So when you're in the will of God, you are now as you will always be. And yeah, we realize there's a few hiccups along the way, but we are in that amazing position. And this makes a huge difference for those in whom the love of the Father is, and those in whom there is only the love of the world. And so the world which they love, with its desires and lusts, is not how God, remember, created the world. Lust and desire is alien to God's creation, so it must be cast out, as it cannot remain. It is passing, and this is what it means when we pray God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We looked at this a bit over the last few days, and there will be nothing of hell in this earth when it's viewed as the creation of God, or in any of the ways in which the world is to work. So in this new heaven, this new earth, when Jesus comes again in his glory, and we're given a new body, then there'll be nothing that is not of God. And so regardless of how much sin and desire and lust there is in this world now, in the next there will be none. And so those who love the world, therefore, must pass with the world and its lust and its desire, and they will then go to be with the demons in eternal, unquenchable fire. But in this earth is God's creation, and in its arrangements under God's rules and regulations, it will be like heaven. And whatever of heaven is in it and in them is yours if you are doing the will of God. This is that encouragement that we have, that assurance that we have, that John says, well, we've got this now. Because you and it together abide forever. That's what he says in 1 John chapter 2 verse 17. Because that's what we are now. The darkness is passing because we're in the light. And so what I've just been saying in these last few minutes is we have these two alternatives before us. We have these differences before us to either be loving the world and its lust and desires, or doing the will of God. And as we've seen, the consequences are very different. Consequences are very different. And really, that's just where I want to leave it just now, because knowing this, when it comes to separating ourselves from the world, then really our mind should really be made up for us. And this is what John's been going through. Just to read back in chapter 1, the beginning of chapter 2. It's just, this is who we are now. This is the God that we should be following, walking in the light, no longer in the darkness. And so John is just piling it all on. That really, for us, when it comes to that decision, and we're looking over the next few days about the will of God. We'll be looking at the will of God and following the will of God, and knowing the will of God and doing the will of God. Then really that should be really a no-brainer for us, because we want to be in the light. We want to have to know that the darkness is passing, and we don't want to go where the darkness is passing into. We don't want that at all, and we don't want that for anybody. And so that's our prayer, that God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so for now, just take care, and God bless.